This is your Radio Fox. Tindy C. This is Radio Fox.
Hello, I'm Tindy C, and a big warm welcome to the Tindy C show on your number one radio station hospital, Radio Fox. Thank you very much to Catherine over the last few hours, and it's a fantastic show. And in the first part of my show, I bring you Talk, where I will chat to our special guest, Rosie Sibley, who's just come back from a trek in Brazil. And later on the show, I bring you Dissified, where I play music from and keep you informed on all the latest goings on in Bollywood and Bhangra world. Hello, Tindy C here, and welcome to my special guest, Rosie Sibley, this week, who has a very interesting story to share with us, as she's just come back from a trek through a rainforest in Brazil. 55 miles of trekking in 4 days. Wow. So you don't just wake up one day and think, right, I'm going to do this. So tell me what inspired you.
I think to begin with, I just wanted to do something exciting, something you wouldn't usually do every day. So I started to look on the internet and see what else I could do, and see where I could do it, travel the world a little bit. I decided to do it for a charity because I thought it'd be worthwhile.
All right, okay, so which charity did you actually do it for?
For the charity Scope.
Okay, I'll ask you about that in a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really good charity. It's a really great way to help people with cerebral palsy. But I decided to do it with Scope, and they had lots of different challenges, from doing the Wall of China to doing Kilimanjaro. Wow. But yeah, I chose the one in the rainforest in Brazil just because I thought it'd be good to see something completely different. So that's the one I went for. Right.
So were you apprehensive then before you went?
Definitely, yeah. Like when they send you all the information out, then you see exactly what you've got to do, and you see other people having done it from years before, and pictures of what they actually have to do. It looks really scary, and you can't quite imagine yourself doing it when you're training and you're just walking around, I don't know, the countryside in England. It's not quite...
Something quite different to that. So tell me, where exactly in Brazil were you?
We flew into Rio, stayed for one night so that we could get all our stuff together, and then we drove for about 3 hours outside of Rio to a national park, which was called Serra de Bocaina. Okay. It's on the border between Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo.
So how far was it from when you actually landed in? How far was the journey out to the national park?
About 3.5-4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was quite a
So it wasn't near?
No, it wasn't. And when you compare Rio to where we actually were, it's completely different. Like there were no cars and just tracks.
So you felt a lot more like you were in the countryside, but obviously in Brazil, Brazilian countryside.
We were in the middle of nowhere, really.
In the sticks?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was really good.
Okay, I'll ask you a few more questions in just a moment, and let's play some Bruno Mars.
If you ever leave me, baby, leave some morphine at my door.
And that was It Will Rain by Bruno Mars. And I bet it rained there a little bit, didn't it, Rosie?
Definitely rained a lot.
Okay, we'll talk about the weather in just a moment. Now, should I ask you the question that, should I really be calling you Jane more than Rosie? Because, as of Tarzan and Jane, of course, because I can imagine you swinging through the jungle on vines, yelling, ah! Okay, so tell me, what exactly did the trek consist of?
Well, now, you see, before I left, I'd been given an itinerary, so I did know where we would be going. But I had the same opinion. I thought when I go there, I'm going to be surrounded by snakes and spiders, and I thought, it's going to be something out of a film. So I was a little unsure of what to expect. But it was quite good because it was planned out very well. We had set days of walking. So after we'd landed, and we had a sort of an evening and a morning to make sure we'd packed all our things, have a good breakfast, and we set off to the rainforest. We ended up starting our trek just outside of the national park. We started the trek by being told that the horses which were going to carry our main luggage, were delayed because there was a big cat which had come along and eaten one of the cows.
Oh my gosh!
And so the farmer was...
I would have completely...
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to say that. No, I would have freaked out.
Well, this was right at the beginning as well, so we were
How did that
ready,
make you
raring
feel?
to go. And we had to wait around while the farmer dealt with the situation of the cow.
Oh my god.
But so the first day of trekking was 5 hours, which ended up being a lot longer than 5 hours because of the rain. And I think there were only 7 of us that started, that were doing the trek. And that meant that the pace of our walking was quite quick. But some of us did struggle, me being one of them. And it was...
Did you do any kind of like preparation?
I did train. I did a lot of walking, and
Right.
I do like to be active, but
Yeah.
nothing could have prepared me for the how steep the hills were. It was very
Wow.
steep. We were going up, and then when we thought we were at the top of one mountain, went up again. So we were having to get. It was relentless.
It sounds like an absolute adventure.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So the first day, 5 hours, this was our warm up for the rest of the week, and the mountains, beautiful, really, really beautiful.
Wow. So did you have to do sort of like a bit of a training regime before you went in there, or?
We were advised to do a lot of walking over
Right.
hilly terrain.
So when you're saying walking, you're not casual stroll. You mean like
Trekking,
power walking?
yeah.
Wow.
With a good pace, I think, because also we
Okay.
had little day sacks as well that had all the things, a lunch and some water and things that we might need, blister plasters as well, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the first day was a bit of a wake-up call, to be honest, because it was really tough. And after we'd finished the first day, we were drenched, soaked to the skin, absolutely wet through. And after the first day, we went back to a little hut called a posada, which is
posada.
Yeah, this is where local people that live in the rainforest have turned their homes into sort of bed and breakfast, if you like, for people, for travellers to come,
Wow.
have something to eat, and stay overnight, and then carry on with their...
So local people, they actually live in the rainforest then?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of them there, or?
It is in the middle of nowhere, really, but they have vans and animals, and they live quite happily there, but it is... I imagine they don't see a lot of people on a day-to-day basis. They have to travel quite a way to get to the nearest town. So for them to have these posadas where people who are travelling can come through, they love it. They can cook for them, make them feel welcome, and it's really good. It's a really nice environment when you've been trekking for 5 hours to come back to a freshly home-cooked meal. Warm fire.
But that tastes absolutely amazing when you've been trekking.
It's brilliant. It's basic, but that's what you...
So they didn't have their ice creams and so forth waiting for you there?
I tell you, the food was beautiful. The food was really nice.
We'll ask you a bit more about the food in just a moment. Let's listen to some Copacabana now from Barry Manilow. And that was Copacabana by Barry Manilow. Try that, go by Barry Manilow. And that was especially for you, Rosie.
Thank
so did you go to Copacabana Beach?
Yes, we did. See, when we first flew in and we were in Rio, our hotel was about a 2 or 3 minute walk from the Copacabana Beach.
That must have been amazing.
It was amazing after we'd gone out and done our trek, and then we got to come back and enjoy Copacabana properly after being in the rainforest for 4 days. It was the best feeling ever. It was beautiful. People playing volleyball, and they had a fishing market and things, so it was great.
That sounds amazing. Now let's go back to the actual trek itself. Now I assume there was a guide with you.
Yes.
And you did at one point, we had a conversation before, and you told me something very interesting about how he was a cross between Mowgli and Indiana Jones. So please tell me more about this, Rosie.
Well, that was my interpretation of him, because he was just brilliant. I mean, without him, there's no way we would have been able to do it. I mean, as a group, we were very keen and eager, but his local knowledge was massive. I mean, he does these treks regularly, but he'd carry this big machete on his back.
Wow.
To cut through the foliage.
Dangerous animals, or
no, just to get through. If some of the tracks that we were walking along, they had trees overgrowing, he'd just cut through, and or if he needed to, I don't know, open something, a melon or something to show us.
He's basically the guy you would not mess with if he's the guy with a massive machete.
God, no. It was a big knife. But
Wow.
also he was.
Oh, so would he make you like fresh melon juices and stuff like that?
Well, I don't think we did actually see any melons, but there were other kind of fruit,
coconut and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember now what they were called. I should have written these things down, but there were things he would pick up and say, "Oh yeah, you can eat that," or he'd cut a bit away from a branch and say, "Oh, you can get water from there." And
when you say, "Oh, you can eat that," like a plant that was growing there, would you actually eat it straight away, or would you wait for somebody else to try it first, just to make sure you wouldn't die or anything?
There were some what they call pine nuts, which just fell from trees, and you could eat them raw, but they were encased in a thick shell.
How big were they?
Only a few centimetres in length. But you had to bite off the hard shell to get into them. They were really moorish, really nice.
Oh.
But you could also roast them. So we were collecting some of the nuts as we were walking, and then when we got back to the posadas, putting them on the fire, and then having them sort of with a glass of...
Sounds a bit... Let's tell me more about the
coffee.
wildlife there now. I'm imagining tarantulas, loads of insects, dangerous snakes, anacondas and piranhas in the water, and monkeys overhead making loads of noise, as in an Indiana Jones movie. Now, is that an accurate description of what it was like during the trek, or am I a little bit off there?
There were monkeys in the rainforest. We heard them, actually. They were very loud. We didn't see any monkeys. I think
That would have freaked me out.
Yeah, well, it was sort of when they're together as well and they're making noise as a group. It does sound from a distance. It sounds quite intimidating. You're thinking, oh my God, they're hunting or something. It was a loud noise, but it was exciting to know that we were, really in the thick
midst
of it.
of things.
But we did. We saw a lot of insects. I saw loads of ants. Must have seen hundreds, thousands of ants. Different types of ants as I'm walking along.
How big was the biggest ant you saw?
Maybe sort of 2 centimeters, but big.
That's quite big.
Quite red, big red ones.
Oh.
But they're walking in lines as well on the path. So you
Didn't
had
it
to
always
sort
just
of,
freak you out, like all these insects and these
there were a
moving
lot
things?
of ant hills. So if you sort of poked one, all the ants had come running out.
Yeah.
And some of them we were told
It's like knocking on their door, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we were told some of them, if they get on you, they will bite you. So stay away.
Oh.
And I saw a lot of spiders, as well.
Okay,
so.
tell me about the spiders.
Oh, they were big. They were really big. They were. I'm not a fan of spiders anyway, but I mean they were sort of brightly coloured, and one of them, I think, a poisonous one, had babies just in the grass, and our guide had spotted it, God knows how, and just said, look, don't get too close, but that's a poisonous spider. So
nice for you to mention that.
Yeah, but there was you could tell there was a lot of wildlife around.
So did you see any, like you mentioned a big cat earlier on, and that would have freaked me out for a start.
Well, I think that the wild cats live in the rainforest. We didn't see any, but
what kind of wild cats actually live there then? Do you know?
I probably something similar to a jaguar or something, I think.
Okay.
But our guide, I mean, his name was Cebola, so
Mowgli, Cebola, yeah?
Cebola. In Portuguese it means onions, but
oh, does it?
Yeah, so we call him onion. But
so it's like, yo, onion man.
But he would, as we were walking along, if we saw there were lots of banana trees, for example, he would sometimes tie bananas to the base of a tree and say the animals later, so late at night, can come and feed, so they wouldn't have to rummage for food.
Oh.
So he was good at sort of trying to keep all the animals
happy.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Oh, he sounds amazing. So I know you did mention some poisonous frogs and so forth as well.
Yes,
to me earlier on.
Again, Sabala one evening when we were sat round a fire, he just disappeared and then came back with a little frog in his hands and said to us, if you come across this frog, and obviously it doesn't want you to be near it, it will squirt you with kind of a venom, which comes from his legs. So he squeezed the frog's leg, the venom shot out, and it's a poisonous venom, but that's how they kill their prey, or sort of make sure that they're protected from
But do you
predators.
seriously think that venom from a little frog could actually really affect a human, for example?
I think it would do enough damage, yeah. But there was, we saw snakes, dead snakes as well, which were poisonous, that just crawl around into people's homes, and then they have to be killed, because if they got near humans and bit them, it'd be lethal. So
I obviously assume it wouldn't be so easy for the people there to get to a hospital and so
No,
forth. Or do they have all the
definitely
remedies at home that could...
I think you'd have to. Well, we had a doctor with us, and he said if you got bitten by something and it was poisonous, I don't have the antidote for it. I have to take you to a special hospital.
must be places where they have antidotes in the jungle, but the people that are living there.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they have very little medicine.
They live on the wild side.
Yeah, but they know their environment, so they know sort of what animals are likely to be around, and they make sure they're protected from that.
Okay, we'll ask you a few more questions just after this.
Radio Fox, the patient's favourite.
Bit of Rihanna there, an only girl in the world, and I was talking to Rosie Sibley, and she was been telling us about her trek to Brazil recently, to a rainforest in Brazil, weren't you?
Yes, yeah.
And sounds absolutely amazing. Now,
I recommend it to anybody, by the way, as well. Let's do something exciting.
Okay, I don't know if they're going to actually think it's exciting after I've asked you this question, though, because I must ask you this question about sanitation. I'm assuming that there wasn't any toilets in the wilderness, but... were you not scared that a dangerous spider would come and bite your bottom while you were doing your business in the jungle?
It did cross my mind, I have to be honest. We were okay when in the evenings when we were at the Posadas. There were toilets there, although I did once have a shower with one of the poisonous frogs.
Oh my God!
I think he just wanted some water as well, but he was sort of hopping around as I was showering. But
if you don't mind me asking, this is not being rude, did you wear a bathing costume whilst you were showering?
Oh no, I was as nature intended, but
in the bath, yeah.
I was sort of dodging the frog, but we were fine. We respected.
That freaked me out more, the fact that I'm not wearing any clothes as a poisonous animal.
He
there.
was more interested in having the water, I think, on him. But
so he wasn't really perving on you then.
But in the daytime when we were walking, there were no toilets. So we'd sort of have to say, Sabala, we can go to the toilet, and they would. The rest of the group would find somewhere that was out of the way, and Sabala would come and just check the area.
Wow.
I think in case there was anything there, but if he gave us the all clear, then we'd just find somewhere that was nice and leafy and go where we needed to. Although, in all honesty,
but how did you feel? Didn't you feel that, oh my God, what if I pick up this leaf and then there's going to be a whole swarm of spiders, or I know.
yeah.
I don't know if spiders are called a swarm of spiders.
I think
Sorry.
the wildlife tended to stay
Quite
away
there.
from us, though. I mean, in all honesty, when we needed to go, we would just, as long as it looked reasonably safe, we were messing around. We were go to the toilet, carry on, like. But
Okay.
Usually we'd go in groups as well. So there were 4 ladies and 3 men that were on the.
So you always went to the toilet in a 4.
Not always, but we got very comfortable with each other. Let's put it that way. We'd sort
I
of,
can imagine.
if one needed to go, the others would sort of go. Oh, do you know what? I will as well. And we'd pick a direction to look in, and say, right, ready, go.
That's quite funny. So tell me, what did you eat, and how often did you eat?
We ate really well, actually. I mean,
Right.
I was expecting to come back a little bit little bit slimmer, a little bit fitter. But
Rosie
we'd
looks
have-
ravishing as she
No.
is, but
But for breakfast, we'd have amazing. There'd be sort of bread for us with cheese. They love their cheese. So
where did they get all this food from then? Is
most
it
of it's homemade.
really?
Yeah, well, because they don't have a easy access to shops and things.
No, that's what I was thinking.
So yeah, they'd make their bread, make their cheese. They'd have cows and goats and things that they make cheese from. Some things I think like they're big on coffee as well. They have the most beautiful.
Do they grow
coffee.
the coffee beans there and stuff as well?
Yeah, they do, but they'd have other things like they had Nesquik chocolate milk. But I think that would be they'd get that from every now and again. They'd go to the town and they'd buy things that they needed for
Okay.
a month.
I can imagine you really needing the Nesquik. Hey?
Yeah. Excuse me, but so we'd have a good breakfast, bread, lots of fruit, lots of bananas, apples, oranges.
Was there plantain there as well, or is that not really?
I don't think I didn't think I ate plantain, but for lunch we'd have sandwiches. I'd
Okay.
have like cheese sandwiches. With
Fresh organic diet. It sounds amazing, and loads of exercise.
Yeah,
You know?
I ate really well, and then in the evening we'd have the most beautiful meat and rice and beans.
Is that like their local food kind of thing?
Yeah,
then?
they sort of make a stew with beans and meat, chicken usually, and then
And there was no monkey brains on the menu at
oh
all. Then.
no, nothing like that. I mean,
I'm glad to hear that.
what I found strange for having quite a sweet tooth is that the dessert tended to be it was lots of cheese again, but they'd have like almost like a jam consistency. So you'd have banana style type jam that you'd put on the cheese and then eat that, and then or they'd have something made of.
Now that doesn't sound that appealing.
See, I was a bit unsure at first, but it's very tasty. It's just really sweet.
So
I'm
it's
used
like
to
what?
kind of chocolate fudge cake, cheesecake type dessert.
I
So-
thought you were about to say some kind of cheesecake kind of thing, but so
No.
what? This was like a banana
They had a
kind
banana
of paste.
cake actually that they'd made, but
that
it's-
would have been quite nice, actually.
everything was sort of like a jam consistency. I can't remember the names for them.
So the main dessert was like banana jam
yeah,
on
with cheese.
the cheese.
Um,
It sounds extremely
but I think-
strange.
yeah, but the sugar was good. There's lots of sugar in it, so it was
Okay.
nice with a cup of coffee. We ate really well, and then obviously we had the pine nuts that we were collecting as well.
Wow.
And
So nibble on
also-
those in the
Yeah,
evening.
yeah, and
Okay.
also we were having the local drink, which was called cachaça, which again I recommend to anybody. It's a very
Does it
strong.
have alcohol in it?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a very strong spirit. but
She's saying this with a big, massive smile on her face, by the way. So yes, so Rosie
that's also really nice.
loved the dream. Okay, well, I'll ask you a little bit more about your trek in just a moment. Let's listen to a bit of Nicki Minaj and Starships now.
We're meant to fly, hands up and touch the sky. Can't stop.
Bit of Nicki Minaj there. And I'm speaking to Rosie about her trek in the Amazon just recently.
Wasn't the Amazon very
okay.
close to the Amazon?
Brazil.
Felt like the Amazon, but it wasn't.
Okay. So, are there any known cannibal tribes living where you were? Tell me about the people who lived there as well.
There
First,
weren't.
any cannibals?
No, there weren't any
Phew.
cannibal tribes. There weren't really any tribes, but the people that lived there were living very basic lives, living on little farms with animals. All seemed very content. But I don't think they're used to having people pass through very often.
Really?
No, I mean there was a lady that we lady's house that we walked past. She was in her late 90s, lived there all her life, got a little family, and our guide had said he knows her from when he's done treks before, but she doesn't leave the area. So he's quite good because he likes to know the local people. He would bring her medicine if she
So are the
needed
local are
anything.
they okay with sort of people doing the treks and stuff?
Yeah,
and,
I
are
mean,
they
they're-
quite friendly and
Local
open?
people are very friendly. This particular lady was very nervous when we went past. He said that she usually does get very nervous when people come through. She'll stay in the house.
Oh, bless.
Because she's not used to having sort of.
She
people
was
that she doesn't know.
91.
Well, she's in her late 90s, I think.
Wow.
But then as soon as we'd leave, you'd see her. She'd just come out again and sit on the front of her.
Oh, bless.
Uh,
Do they? And it's a silly question to ask, but do they have televisions there, or would they not? Because it's very, very, very remote.
No televisions.
Radios.
I think they may have radios, but no, I didn't see any radios.
Wow. Back to basics.
Yeah.
Complete
But
basics.
it was nice. It was really nice to just sit and talk. I mean, they had electricity. One of our guides had brought his laptop with us, and they didn't have plug sockets, but they had ways that you could get power. So they had some of them had lights, some of them just had candlelight.
Okay.
So I think it depends what area
Were
of the park that they were in.
It's quite interesting. Were there many younger sort of residents?
To begin
the
with, I think
forest.
the first night we stayed in the Posada, the family had children,
Right.
but they were more on the outskirts. The deeper in that we went, no, we didn't really see any children.
Or younger people.
No,
Oh, so maybe
but I mean,
it's not. Maybe more of the youngsters are moving more towards the cities.
yeah, I think that is the case. I think
Okay.
people want to be where they can access things, but it was really nice that people were so welcoming.
So where did you actually sleep then?
The posadas themselves had different rooms.
Right.
Again, depending on where we were, some of them were more basic than others. One night we had quite a luxury. It was just for two with a bathroom, and the other nights there was 4 or 5 of us in bunk beds. So it just depended on what was available. But the beds were really comfortable. Got quite cold.
So you
at
didn't
night.
actually have to sleep on the floor outside or anything like that?
No, I mean, one of the posadas we stayed in, I was kept awake most of the night because there was a scurrying noise on the ceiling.
Oh my God, that would have freaked me
Yeah.
out.
And because it was dark, yeah, I was thinking all sorts of things. But it turned out it's just a skunk that liked to run around.
Well, I don't think I'd like to come across a skunk either.
Well,
but
I just stayed put. I was like, I'm not moving from my bed.
I would have been absolutely
I
terrified.
was scared because the noises when you're in the rainforest, you can hear birds and they can hear the mosquitoes and yeah,
Wow.
your mind is thinking all sorts of things.
Oh, you're painting quite a picture for
Yeah.
us already.
But I saw bats as well. One night we saw bats, sort of living in the rafters above us. So. But
Seriously?
I always had a good night's sleep because I'd been trekking for 6-7 hours in the daytime. My feet were hurting, my back was hurting. I was always sort of ready for a good night's sleep, even if there was a skunk trying to keep me awake.
Oh, wow. I'll ask you a few more questions about the actual charity scope in just
Yeah.
a moment. Let's listen to a little bit of Black Eyed Peas. It's a bit of Black Eyed Peas there, and I've been speaking to Rosie Sibley, and she's just come back from a trek in Brazil, and I must say it's been an absolutely fantastic adventure. It sounds like it.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. So tell me about the charity aspect of this adventure.
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'd chosen to do it with the charity scope. Now, I wanted to do something personally so that I could say I'd done something amazing, do something that really challenged me, and it gave me the opportunity to see this beautiful rainforest in Brazil. But in all seriousness, I think the work that Scope do is really worthwhile. It's a brilliant charity.
Okay, so what kind of work do they do then exactly?
They work with people, disabled people with cerebral palsy. They have this vision that they want disabled people to have the same opportunities to be able to fulfil their dreams as everybody else, which, we all want to fulfil our dreams.
Are they a UK-based charity
Yeah,
then? Okay.
yeah. But I think, the cerebral palsy, it's a very serious condition, and they help people with the condition as well as their families to have access to information and help when needed. But I think what also was brilliant about the trek that I did was Scope have donated some of the money which I raised from sponsorship to help children in Brazil. We were able to go to a local school in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro after we'd completed our trek and donate a large amount of food to a school which, in an area of Rio such as the favelas, provides education to children.
Is the favelas, is that area, is it quite run down generally? Or?
Yeah, the favelas are, I mean, you've probably seen pictures of them from films and things.
I've seen the City of God. Now, is
Yeah.
that anything?
I mean, they've
to
had a
go
lot
by?
of problems, poverty and drugs and
Okay.
things, but these, they're trying to change things, and children need the opportunity to be educated and to be given the chance to go on and do something with their lives. And this school that we went to has children from 6 months old up until they're 18
Right.
come in, spend the day stimulating them, getting them involved in activities, educating them, teaching them that they are able to as well achieve things in their life. So for some of the money that we'd raised to go towards facilitating that project, it was an emotional thing for us to go in and see the children in lessons and see the work that they've done, see that children are actually going on to university or going on and getting jobs and managing to escape sort of the crime and the poverty.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it was being able to help children not only in the UK with cerebral palsy as well as their families, but helping people of Brazil in Rio also live better lives. And I think that made the whole trek worthwhile, definitely.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing thing. So, I mean, how much money did you manage to raise between you as a group?
Between the 7 of us, bearing in mind that obviously we're in a recession, it's difficult for people to live and support themselves. We raised £22,500.
Wow. Way. That's brilliant.
I mean, I didn't know that until the last night that we were there.
Congratulations.
And it sort of blew us all away, really, because that's a lot of money, and it will make such a difference.
Wow. And all I can say is I'm very impressed, Miss Sibley. You're quite an adventurer, aren't you? And although many say they'd love to do something like this, very few people actually do that. Congratulations on completion of the trek. And is there anything else you'd like to add? Any final words you've got to say?
I think just that obviously I wasn't 100% sure I'd be able to do it, and people believed in me and gave me money to help me, spur me along. But if anybody does want to get involved with Scope, the charity, then please go to the website www.scope.org.uk.
That's
Scope, SCOPE.org.uk.
Okay.
You can go into charity shops and find out about ways that you can help. There's information out there that you can access. If you want to do one of the challenges as well, they're always recruiting people for the Wall of China, Kilimanjaro, Grand Canyon.
So what's
treks.
next for you then, Rosie?
I think I'm going to have a little rest for a while.
Has it given you the bug? Are you
Oh yeah,
going to do all this again?
Definitely. I think now I've done this one, I will try and do some more. But yeah, I would recommend doing something like this to anybody, especially if you know you can help people as well. And I had the best time of my life, so it was meeting people and knowing that I was making a difference definitely was worthwhile.
Oh, that's really fantastic. That's very inspirational as well. A lot of us probably think, right, I'm going to try doing something like that, or at least try and get involved with Scope and try and,
push yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no way I would have ever thought I could complete it, but if you put your mind to it and do a bit of hard work, it's definitely worthwhile in the end.
Oh, that sounds absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Rosie.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the luck for future expeditions you may wish to do. And what we'll do is we'll play a bit of Talisa now, heading up to the 5 o'clock news.